What up guys, it's Drama for Life here today and I'm back with another video. Now today's video I want to talk about why Toon Force characters slash GAG characters are kind of BS and it's ridiculous to use them in versus battles. And I want to go into why I don't like using them in versus battles, and when I see the people using them I kind of get annoyed by it. But before I get into it, I do want to say a couple of things. One, I want to give a big shout out to two new subscribers of mine, one by the name of Abado Rashid, sorry if I mispronounced the first name, I've never heard that name before, and Fento Mansgoni, sorry if I mispronounced that, sorry for the mispronunciation of both the names, but thank you to both of you for subscribing to my channel. My channel's gone up quite decently. Also, I'm kind of getting close to my 1 year mark of being on YouTube, which has surprised me because I didn't expect that, that a year had passed. To me, it didn't come to my mind that that much time passed already. I thought I was still, only a couple months in, making this YouTube channel. So I will be making a video talking about my year journey throughout, YouTube and being a content creator, and just my feelings throughout, this journey and how I progressed, and what I feel about it, and how I feel about you guys, and the contributions you guys done to my YouTube career. So I will be making a video about that when that comes out. But I want to talk about something else before I get into this whole topic. I do want to mention I have created a Facebook page, so if any of you guys want to follow my Dragon Ball for Life Facebook page, you can go on Facebook and just search it up. I am uploading my videos, links directly to my videos, so if you have any friends or family members, you can just go to my channel and send them to my channel, but this is an easier way because I know it's sometimes hard to find my videos throughout YouTube because my channel's not that big, and it's kind of hard for my videos to pop up to be recommended on YouTube because you need to have a certain amount of views and a certain amount of likes and a certain amount of subscribers to be seen more, and I'm not really that up there. I'm lucky enough to have gotten some of you guys to view my videos and come to my channel, but it's harder for other people. So if you want to come to my channel a more easier way, you can just go through my Facebook page and come directly to here. I will be posting other stuff. If you guys want to ask me any questions, any stuff that you wanted to talk about, you can definitely go on my Facebook page, and I will definitely talk to you guys there. That will be pretty cool. So yeah, let's get into this topic and debate. Why do I think it's stupid to use Toon Force characters slash GAG characters in a versus battle? I'm mainly going to focus on Toon Force characters because GAG characters and Toon Force characters are kind of similar in a sense, but they are a little bit different, and sometimes people can get GAG characters mixed up with parody characters, which is also a whole nother thing, and it can get really confusing. Now, when it comes to these versus debates, it's really complex because these characters, obviously they're fictional, so we don't know who would win in a literal fight, and also a lot of the feats that they do, a lot of things they do is not very realistic. I mean, since it's a fictional world, they don't really they're not held back that much by actual science and physics. Now they might we try to accustom themselves to it to a certain degree, but they will never 100% let themselves be controlled. There are very few comic book characters out there that are 100% realistically grounded, but also have superpowers. And usually those characters are far weaker and far easier to gauge in their their feats and abilities. But when we get to regular comic book characters or manga and anime characters, sometimes their feats and what they've accomplished and what they're capable of doing is ridiculous. But then there's an even higher level to that where you get Toon Force characters and GAG characters where they are completely in a realm where nothing matters, it's all a joke, everything is just to mess around, there is no consistency, there's no need to confine yourself to any space. Like you see, there's the hyper realistic superheroes that are super confined to science and reality, then there's just the regular conventional ones that are somewhat take off of real science. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they leave some parts out, so it's like a mismatch. But when it comes to Toon Force characters and GAG characters, that's not the case, especially with Toon Force characters. Toon Force is just a term that we as a versus community created for characters from Looney Tunes, from SpongeBob, from all these other cartoons that are mainly for kids. These shows usually have some ridiculous stuff happening in it, but they're very nonsensical and they have no real connection to the story or direct the plot of the story at all. So we can see some really absurd feats there because they're not confined to any form of logic or sense of reasoning. And gag characters are kind of aligned on that part where they're supposed to be outlandish too, but it's on a different level where Toon Force characters is more like it's a kid's cartoon, so they don't care. A gag character is supposed to be, over the top. That's the point. Gag characters are meant to be over the top. Whereas Toon Force characters, usually they don't have to be, but they can be, and they can have some instances and some moments where they do stuff where you would consider it reality warping, but they wouldn't say that because they're not trying to confine themselves to having superpowers. We see SpongeBob doing crazy stuff, but I highly doubt the writers are like, yeah, SpongeBob has the ability to warp reality, that's why he's able to do this and that. It's like, no, this is just a stupid episode, we're having fun, we're gonna have some dumb stuff happening here and there, it doesn't really matter. Now, when it comes to versus battles, what is the most important is consistency. Because if you're going to use feats, you're going to have some high-end feats, you're going to have some low-end feats. So you need to go to a middle ground, and you need to look at both sides for the levels of power of you're either highballing them or lowballing them. So there's two different big ranges that you can go through, but you have to go usually through a consistency. But when it comes to these characters, there's no need to have a consistency because these characters are not written for how powerful they are. They're written for how much fun we can have and how much of a wacky story we can have from episode to episode. I mean, we see SpongeBob do some ridiculous stuff, but let's be honest, there's also tons of episodes where he gets beaten up by weak people or he struggles to lift up a stick or whatever, but then he can do crazy things, and it's just like, well, it's nonsensical. And that's one of the reasons I hate using Toon Force characters or seeing people use that, especially against characters that are not Toon Force characters, because it's like, well, it's kind of not fair. And I don't mean in the sense of they're so OP and the other person's so underpowered. It's more like in the sense of, well, these are completely two different written styles of logic. It's like comparing somebody in a basketball sports anime to somebody in an action anime where they're fighting and killing each other. It's like, oh, this character can he has crazy superpowers in basketball, but this guy can destroy planets. Like, why are you comparing these two? It's not the same realm. The point of this is not the same. It's not really realistic to compare those two. Same thing with the Toon Force and gag characters to a certain extent. I always see people use them to be like, oh, look at how powerful they are. Look at how powerful Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tune characters are. They can warp literally reality. But it's like, it becomes nonsensical and it's a kind of a joke. And it's pointless to do that because it's like, well, they weren't written to be powerful or to beat characters, because you can have stuff where they're beaten by weak things and you can have stuff where they're ridiculously powerful. So it's like, it's just not really realistic, and I just hate it because it gets goofy at that point, and then it becomes like, well, this versus stuff is like, it's pointless. And I get it isn't that serious all the time, but it's like, well, when we do these versus battles, we want to see really who would win. That's why we do all these stats. Why would you take all this time doing all this calculation and all these stats and all this consistency and research just to be doing something stupid and goofy with characters that their powers don't matter or what consistency it is? Now, gag characters, like I said, is different. Their feats usually are countlessly on the high end because they're written for to be ridiculously overpowered and break the laws of physics. Whereas Toon Force characters, it depends on it's situational. It's usually just for entertainment, and the writer's not thinking or using physics in it because it's usually for younger audience. So when I see this, I really don't like this debate. I don't know what you guys think about it. Do you guys personally, hate it too? Because personally, when I see it, I'm just like, really? We're gonna do this? We're gonna compare some random ass Toon Force character against somebody like who's from a serious, series? It doesn't make sense. Even if that series is ridiculous with their power system or powers, it doesn't matter. That at least universe has some seriousness to it. Like, look at Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Super has some ridiculousness, but there was a path that it led into. Whereas these, Toon Force characters, they go back and forth, and there's no real consistency because there's no need for that, So for me personally, I just get annoyed when I see that. I'm just like, this is a joke. Now, unless if you're comparing two Toon Force characters against each other, then okay, go have fun. But if you're compared to serious characters in that, then it's like, okay, what are you trying to do here? What's your point? Saying SpongeBob can beat this character, that character, or Bugs Bunny can beat this or that character is like, well, they come from a universe that nothing matters. Like, the characters' powers are not consistent like that. Like, what is your point? So yeah, I don't like it. I want to know what you guys 100% think about it. Do you like that idea? Are you guys okay with it? Do you think it's just fun or whatever? Personally, I'm just annoyed by it, and if I ever see, those type of debates or versus battles, I will avoid them. And if any of you guys ever suggest those, I might check it out, but just don't be surprised if I don't, because I really don't care about comparing characters that are nonsensical for the sake of being nonsensical. And GAG characters also. GAG characters, I kind of lump them in a little bit with the Toon Force characters because they kind of fall in line a little bit. Even though, like I said, I think they're different because they're meant to be written over the top like Arale. And then comparing like parody characters, people need to understand a parody character is more joking, whereas GAG characters are more supposed to be like over the top. So some people like say, oh, Saitama was a GAG character, which we know that that's not the case anymore with the ending of the manga. But he was more of a parody character where he was making fun of shonen characters and how powerful they get from like conventional training and stuff, and how quickly they can become ridiculously powerful. Whereas GAG characters, they don't care to tell anything. They're just like, hey, we're super powerful. We're just doing this for fun. It's just to show off. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I really don't like doing those type of verses. I hate them. I will never ever, you will never ever catch me doing a versus between these Toon Force characters against like serious characters. I might do it against each other, but even if I do that, I will be really not taking it too seriously. But yeah, I just hate the idea. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for next time.